The night was quiet, just another Tuesday in Baltimore. Trucks rumbled across the Francis Scott Key Bridge, their headlights slicing through the darkness. Below, the Patapsco River reflected the city's distant glow. The bridge was a familiar silhouette, a symbol of Baltimore's grit. Suddenly a deep, unnatural groan echoed across the water. Metal twisted, concrete cracked, a horrifying noise that jolted the city awake. Witnesses saw the bridge's arch contort, lights flickering out as steel buckled. In seconds, a massive section plunged into the river, dust and debris filling the air. Sirens wailed as emergency crews raced to the scene. People rushed outside, phones in hand, capturing the chaos and disbelief. Was it an attack? An explosion? No one knew, only that the city's landmark was gone. The emotional shock was instant, a sense of vulnerability settling over Baltimore. If the Key Bridge could fall, what was safe? The city's heart pounded with dread as the skyline was forever changed. The night the steel fell was the night Baltimore's sense of security crumbled. The bridge's absence left a gaping wound, both in the skyline and in the hearts of its people. The city would never be the same. The silence of the night was replaced by the roar of loss. The disaster began with a desperate warning. Aboard the Dolly, a massive container ship, a sudden power failure left the vessel adrift, heading straight for the Key Bridge. The pilot's mayday call crackled over the radio. "We've lost power, no steering. We are heading for the bridge." Authorities responded instantly, blocking traffic and saving countless lives. Flashing police lights became a barrier between safety and catastrophe. But nothing could stop the Dolly's momentum. The ship, weighing over 95,000 tons, struck a main support pier with devastating force. Concrete shattered, steel buckled, and the bridge's central span collapsed into the Patapsco River in seconds. The cause catastrophic mechanical failure at the worst possible moment. First responders converged on the scene, their search shrouded in darkness and uncertainty. The U.S. Coast Guard deployed cutters and helicopters, scanning the debris-filled water. Dive teams prepared to enter the treacherous river, facing a tangled mess of steel and concrete. A construction crew had been on the bridge, their vehicles and lives swallowed by the collapse. The mayday call had saved many, but for those on the bridge, it was too late. The emergency response became a desperate search for survivors. The city watched in horror as the scale of the tragedy unfolded. The bridge's fall was not an act of malice, but a cruel twist of fate. Baltimore's lifeline was gone in an instant. The city's resilience would soon be tested. The mayday call echoed, a final warning before disaster struck. The Dolly's impact changed everything. The bridge's collapse was swift, merciless, and unforgettable. Baltimore was left reeling. The night's silence was shattered forever. The Key Bridge collapse didn't just scar the skyline, it severed a vital artery. Overnight, commutes for tens of thousands became nightmares. Traffic gridlocked, frustrations soared, and the city's rhythm was upended. The Port of Baltimore, a national economic engine, was sealed off. Ships trapped, commerce halted, local businesses lost customers overnight, livelihoods hung in the balance, emergency services faced longer routes, and hazardous materials required convoluted detours. The city felt fractured, its communities isolated. The economic shockwaves threatened thousands of jobs. The bridge was more than infrastructure, it was a lifeline. Its loss exposed the fragility of daily life. Baltimore was forced to adapt, but the wound ran deep. The collapse was a stark reminder. A city's strength depends on its connections. In the aftermath, the federal response was swift. President Biden promised full funding to rebuild the Key Bridge, reassuring a grieving city. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers mobilized, bringing in cranes and salvage crews to clear the channel and reopen the port. The Coast Guard secured the area, while officials managed the traffic crisis. But politics soon complicated the promise. Debates over cost and responsibility emerged in Congress. The collapse became a symbol of America's aging infrastructure, sparking calls for investment and safety reforms. Locally, residents demanded a bridge built to modern standards, honoring the victims and the bridge's legacy. Community meetings gave people a voice in the process. The goal, a bridge that was safer, stronger, and a symbol of resilience. The federal promise met local determination. Baltimore was united in its resolve to build back better. The tragedy became a catalyst for change. The city looked to the future, determined not to be defined by loss. The true cost was measured in lives lost. Immigrant workers repairing the bridge, fathers and sons seeking a better future. Their sacrifice became a solemn reminder of the human toll. First responders braved the wreckage, diving into darkness to recover the fallen. The community rallied, vigils, fundraisers, and support for grieving families. Police officers and the ship's pilot became heroes, their quick actions saving many. Ordinary citizens offered comfort and aid. Acts of courage and kindness shone through the darkness. Baltimore's compassion and unity became its strength. Even in tragedy, the city's spirit endured. The Port of Baltimore's closure sent shockwaves through the nation's supply chain. Automakers scrambled, shipping costs soared, and delays rippled across the East Coast. Thousands of local jobs were suddenly at risk. The port's silence was a painful reminder of the disaster's reach. Salvage crews worked tirelessly to clear the channel, each piece of wreckage a step toward recovery. The crisis exposed the vulnerability of critical infrastructure. Experts called for stronger bridge protections and modernized ports. The lesson was clear: resilience and redundancy are vital. Baltimore's economic heart would beat again, but the warning could not be ignored. The nation watched, learning from Baltimore's pain. As debris was cleared, Baltimore looked to the future. Plans for a modern, cable-stayed bridge took shape. Smarter, stronger, and safer. Embedded sensors and advanced navigation aids would protect against future disasters. Alongside, a memorial park was envisioned to honor the victims. The community helped shape both bridge and memorial, turning grief into action. The new bridge would symbolize resilience, the memorial, remembrance. Together, they would heal the city's wounds. Baltimore's future would be built on memory and hope. The collapse left a deep scar on Baltimore's psyche. Grief and vulnerability lingered, but so did resilience. Recovery crews, port workers, and neighbors united to rebuild. The new bridge became a symbol of hope and progress. Jobs returned, and the city's energy focused on renewal. The bridge would reconnect not just land, but a fractured community. Baltimore's legacy would be one of loss and of rebirth. The city faced its darkest hour and chose to build back better. The new bridge would stand as a testament to strength and resolve. From tragedy, Baltimore forged a new beginning.